Hello everyone, this is Mr. Appel, and we're going to do this proof here. So obviously we start with the given. I'm going to be lazy and not actually rewrite it, but of course you know you have to rewrite that x is the midpoint of segment AG and of segment NR. So keep in mind that's two separate pieces of information. So let's look at the first piece, which says that x is the midpoint of segment AG. Well, what does that tell me? The midpoint splits a segment into two equal parts. The two equal parts are AX and XG. So that tells me that segment AX is congruent to segment GX. I'm going to mark that up on my figure that those two segments are congruent. And the reason I knew that is because I knew what a midpoint was. I know that's the definition of a midpoint. Okay. And then the second piece of given information is that x is the midpoint of NR, right? That was kind of like two statements in one there. So that splits NR into two equal parts. And those two equal parts are NX and RX. So I can say that segment NX is congruent to segment RX. And that's also definition of a midpoint. So I'm just going to use the little quote shortcut. And so I've used up the given, and I have two pairs of congruent sides. And that's not enough. I need something else, right? We need to find one of our 5 shortcuts. And so I look at the figure and see if there's anything I can deduce. And I notice there's a pair of vertical angles. And so angle 1 and angle 2 must be congruent. And so I can say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, and that's the vertical angles theorem. And now what I notice is there's a couple ways of looking at this. I notice that I have one pair of congruent sides, another pair of congruent sides, and a pair of congruent angles. So I have two sides and an angle. So really the only things I could have here are side, angle, side, or angle, side, side. So I either have SAS or ASS. And so let's just see what we have. So really the question is where they are in the triangle. So when I zoom in here, I see in the triangle on the left, AX and NX are the two segments, and the angle is between the two sides. And then if I look on the other triangle, GX and RX, the angle there that I have that's congruent is also between the two sides. So in both cases, the congruent angle is between the two congruent sides. And so that is side, angle, side. So I have now established that two pairs of sides and the angle between them in one triangle are congruent to the two pairs of sides and an angle between them in the other. That's a whole lot of words, but really all we are saying is side, angle, side. Triangle ANX is now congruent to triangle GRX, because we have established side, angle, side. That's all for now. Thanks.